Conservative new media viewers and JLin fans around the world, what is up? It's me, Paul F. Villarreal, PFV, the NBA expert. We are here to discuss Houston's 98-88 win tonight over the Orlando Magic in a game that took place in Houston, Texas. With the victory, Houston improves to 15-7 on the year. The Magic fall to 6-14 on the season, including a 1-9 record on the road. Let's go right to the stats. Patrick Beverley, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Patrick played 39 minutes, shot 3 of 9 from the field, including 2 of 8 on three-pointers, 1 of 3 free throws, no steals, 1 block, 1 turnover. His plus-minus was a plus 17, and Patrick's efficiency was 8. Aaron Brooks played 13 minutes, 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 of 4 field goals, 3 turnovers. Plus-minus was a minus 10, and Aaron's efficiency was a minus 2. Dwight Howard, 20 points, 22 rebounds. Huge game with an efficiency of 34. Pardon me. James Harden, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. James' efficiency was 31. Terrence Jones, 16 points, 13 rebounds. His efficiency was 23. Chandler Parsons, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. His efficiency was 14. For the Magic, Jameer Nelson, the starting point guard, 15 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. His efficiency was a 14. Etuan Moore, who was the backup point guard, I think he also might play a little bit of shooting guard, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. His efficiency was 15. I want to say Ronald Price, I believe, is the third, Ronnie Price, the third point guard for the Magic. He had 0 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. His efficiency was 4. And finally, Aaron Aflalo, who's the starting shooting guard for the Magic, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. His efficiency was 13. Okay, so comparing the point guards in this game. The point guards for Houston were a combined 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, with a combined efficiency of 6. The 3 combined point guards for the Magic had 27 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists for an efficiency of 33. So what that shows you is that the point guards of the Magic substantially outplayed the point guards of the Rockets. And that, of course, leads to, well, Jeremy probably would have helped out with that. I certainly believe that he would have. And he was missed, even though the team won. But it's good that the team won. If you look at all of the guards, including James Harden, and you compare their performance to all of the guards from the Magic, Houston still suffered. The efficiency was 46 for Orlando, 33 for Houston. So again, this is an area where I believe Jeremy certainly could have made a difference in this game. And what happened in the game is Houston got up a whole bunch. And then Orlando kind of came back in the fourth quarter a lot. And it got a little uncomfortable, but fortunately, Houston was able to hang on. Orlando came into this game. In their last 4 games, I believe they're 0-4. And 3 of those games were blowouts. Like 3 of those games, I think they lost by 18 points or more. So this should have been a Houston win, and it was. And Orlando was also playing without, I can't remember his first name, Vucevic, their center, who was pretty good. And look, Houston did what they needed to do. They won, and they should have won. And that's good. Again, I do think Jeremy would have helped out here. There's no question when you look at the comparison of the guards and the starting point guards, and all of the point guards involved on both teams. I definitely think Jeremy could have helped out here. Patrick actually played relatively well, although he didn't do so great in the fourth quarter, and his shooting was not great. He played pretty well, although, I'll talk more about that in a second. Aaron didn't have a great game. This definitely wasn't one of his better games. So, yeah, I think I do think JLin would have been able to help out here. Okay, here's what you need to know about the game. This is another game that Jeremy missed out on that's a quote-unquote ratings game, which is to say Orlando's defense or offense was bad in this game. And some of it had to do with Houston, and a fair amount of it didn't have to do with Houston. And unfortunately for Jeremy, his defensive rating doesn't get to have this game on his resume, because if it was, his defensive rating would have gotten better. I don't think this game, in fact, I know it won't help Patrick in terms of PER, but it will help his defensive rating, just because they didn't score many points. Orlando didn't. So it's too bad Jeremy didn't get to play in this game, but it happens. That's the way it is. Now, a number of you have said that you're not watching the games with Jeremy being out. And some of you have said it's not as fun if you do watch. And I got to tell you, it's not as exciting for me watching when Jeremy's not playing. And I think, just to be completely honest about it, it's just there's so much stuff that's going on with this team and the organization as regards Jeremy. And some of just the personalities and everything on the team, it's, how can I say this? I think that if you're a neutral observer, again, I'm a Rockets fan and have been for a very long time. But if you were a neutral observer, this isn't the easiest team to root for in the world. I think this is probably the way to say it. And many people have said that on message boards that I've looked at around the league. So it's easier for me to root for them when Jeremy's playing. And it's easy for me to care about them when Jeremy's playing. Now, again, look, if Jeremy leaves and everything's whatever, then maybe I won't feel that same way. Maybe it'll be easier for me to root for them again. But because of some of the stuff that's gone on with the team as regards Jeremy, it's not as easy for me to root for them now. And this happens. I'm a big fan of American football team Dallas Cowboys, but I really didn't like something that happened with them a few years ago with the wide receiver Terrell Owens. I didn't think they treated him well, and they got rid of him. And since that time, I don't root for them that much anymore. So this happens. This is part of being a fan. Now, I have to try to be objective because I'm being an analyst, so I can't let that interfere. But just from a purely emotional level, it's not as fun to watch the games when Jeremy's not playing. That's what it is. I mean, that's how I feel about it. So I'll still do it, but it's not as fun to do it. And that's the same type of thing that a lot of you have said. And so I understand where you're coming from. In the last 8 games, Patrick has scored in double figures in only 2 of them. So again, I mean, that's what it is. Patrick's not in there for his offense, and so you're going to get that. I mean, that's just part of the package, at least right now. Now, again, Patrick's a young player, and he can improve, and I expect that he will improve. And as I've said before, I'm not here to bash Patrick Beverley. I like him. But this is where it is. This is part of the package right now. And so that's where things are right now. There was a part in this game where I really felt like, Jeremy needs to get traded just because there's not a spot for him on this team. Chandler's making plays and doing assists, and James Harden is, and Patrick's doing okay, and Aaron's doing okay, and there's not really a spot for Jeremy. But then you look and you see how things go, and it's like, wow, you see how the point guards did against each other, and you think, this team really, really, really needs Jeremy. And so it's kind of conflicted on that. And the organization might feel the same way, although they might not feel that way. And as I've said, we'll find out. We'll see what happens in the time to come after Omer Ashik apparently gets moved. Then we'll start to see how the team really feels as regards Jeremy. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. Hopefully Jeremy will come back soon. I guess somebody was saying that he's looking at targeting next Friday's game or this upcoming Friday's game against Golden State. Okay, cool. If he's back at practice and he's shooting, that's possible. As I said before, I hope he doesn't come back too quick. Don't come back too quick. Rest up, be healthy. Make sure you're ready to play when you come back. As I said, Orlando, they're just in a dead spot right now. They actually put up kind of a good fight in this game at times. They really did. The problem was they just could not hit a shot tonight. They got wide open shots and they were missing them. I mean, really, really good looks at the basket. Wide open. And they just missed shots. So if that happens to you, you're going to lose. And that's what happened to them tonight. And Houston was fortunate about that. Orlando got a lot of wide open shots, and luckily they didn't go in. Terrence had a really nice game. He's developing great. I think he had like 4 or 5 blocks. I mean, when you put him in there with his athleticism, you put him, Dwight, and Chandler in there. That's pretty impressive defensive lineup. Those guys are. The thing about Chandler, he's not super athlete, but he's a good athlete, and he's very long. I think he's legitimately, like in his bare feet, about 6'8", or maybe even taller than that. He might actually be around 6'9". So somebody of that height with fairly long arms at a small forward, that's difficult to go against that. If you're a small forward, that can cause problems. When you put those 3 guys in there, that's some pretty serious defense, or it can be when it's going well, and that's good. That certainly helps the team quite a bit. Okay, let's go through quick quarter by quarter, just the notes that I made. I noticed early in this game that Jameer Nelson was helping off of Patrick Beverley. Now, what that means is it's what you see Jeremy do on defense, where he'll kind of not worry about his man, and then he'll help whoever else is guarding somebody on defense. And the reason why Jameer was helping off of Patrick was because he wasn't worried about him. In other words, he doesn't think Patrick's going to hit shots or make any particular moves. So that's another issue with having Jeremy off the court. If you have somebody on offense that the defense respects, then they can't play like that. And not only does that affect the player, it affects the whole team. Because if that man is helping out on another offensive player, well, then that can slow down the offense. And that has to do with spacing, these types of things. When you have great shooters, your spacing is better because the defense has to respect every shooter, and they have to stick around with him and not help out as much on defense. So that was something that I definitely noticed here. The Orlando announcer, and again, I was listening to the Orlando feed. I'm not listening to the Houston feeds, and I'm particularly probably not going to listen to them when there are home games involved for reasons that we've discussed before. He said that Patrick was starting because Jeremy was hurt. So obviously that's false, as we know. But it's kind of good to hear that some of these announcers look at Jeremy as a starter, or they see him as that level of player. So it's a minor thing, and it's not true, literally, what he said. But it does show you that not everybody has this silly mindset that seems to be prevalent in some national media circles and certainly in Houston media circles about Jeremy's just the bench guy and he's great off the bench and da-da-da-da. So that's an example of someone that's not buying that line, apparently. I said Jameer Nelson is having no issues with Patrick Beverley. And what I mean by that is Jameer wasn't getting slowed down by Patrick at all on offense. Not at all. And some of you guys have pointed this out. And we've pointed it out. And I anticipated that this was going to happen this year. Patrick can't play in your face, high-intensity defense game in and game out for 40 minutes. You simply can't do it because nobody can do it. You wouldn't have any energy left and you'd foul out of games. And so you're going to see a lot of games like this from Patrick where he doesn't get any steals or he gets one steal and he has to play off of the guy. That's what we said. There's a fool's gold aspect to Patrick's defense, or the Patrick Beverley destroys Drew Holiday stuff, because nobody can do that every single game. And again, Patrick is a very good one-on-one isolation defender, but he's not a guy that can shut guys down. Not game in and game out. It's just not going to happen. Now, Jameer did less in this game than the previous four guards that Houston faced did. But he still did okay. He still got 15 points. And I can tell you right now from doing research, Jameer came into this game not doing well. He came into this game with a 12 PER. Not a really good. Now, this game might not have bumped him up a lot, but he's not playing that well. But he was still able to get some things done against Patrick. And that's not great. That's not good news necessarily. And I will tell you this, Jameer was not playing well in this game for 3 quarters, and then he went crazy in the fourth quarter. And again, we've seen this, James Anderson and Kyle Lowry and all these people against Jeremy. Well, tonight was Patrick's night. And so, again, Patrick's not a Superman defender. He's not a Superman player. That's not reality. It's not realistic, particularly not at this time. And the truth is, it'll probably never be like that. Again, we talk about Jeremy's limitations. Patrick has limitations. Everybody has limitations. And we saw that tonight. I mean, that's what it is. Then I made a note that Patrick got wiped out on a screen. Again, the terminology is rubbed off on a screen. That just means someone sets a pick on you and you get lost in it. And you get stuck on the screen. And you don't get to your man really quickly. This is something that Jeremy has been criticized for. Jeremy's had issues with it before, but to be completely honest with you, I think he's better at it than Patrick is. And I don't know why that's a thing for Patrick. Look, if someone sets a screen on you, they're in your way. So you're not going to get by it immediately. Nobody's perfect at that. Then it becomes, how quickly do you get by it? Jeremy's improved on this. I'm sure Patrick's improved on it too. But Patrick's not great at that. And I think other teams know that. And the more that they see Patrick play, the more they're going to know it. So you can look for that. And I think Orlando ran Patrick off some screens tonight, probably because they know that. Then there was a play where Big Baby Davis, Glenn Davis, for the Magic, he got I don't know if he got fouled by Patrick or he kind of went up for a shot, and I don't know, he and Patrick kind of hit each other and the ball went out of bounds, and they were talking to each other. I don't know what was being said, but it didn't look super friendly, although it could have been. I mean, I'm not sure, but it was Glenn Davis is he's a very talkative guy. He'll talk trash. I think Patrick will do it a little bit too. So it's probably just not a big deal. I mean, these types of things happen. Then middle of the second, Patrick shot a air ball 3-pointer, and it was a bad air ball. But it actually turned out great because Dwight Howard grabbed the ball in the front of the rim and dunked it or laid it in. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that will say it was a pass, but it was counted as a miss. And so we know that other people have said things. Oh, Jeremy airballed a shot, so he's not really an NBA level player. Well, I can tell you in this game tonight that James Harden, Patrick Beverley, and Aaron Brooks all airballed 3-pointers. So I still think they're pro players. So I guess Jeremy's still a pro player too, even if he airballed a 3. Just in case anyone was wondering about that. I then said again that Jameer's just not having any issues with Patrick at all. Patrick's defense wasn't slowing Jameer Nelson down at all, not in the least, in my opinion, at least at this point in the game. I then made a note, and this is certainly a refreshing thing, that James Harden played some defense in this game. He really did. Aaron Aflalo is a good player, and he's playing very well. And I will give James Harden credit. He put effort into defense tonight. Now, it wasn't always successful effort, but he tried. This is what we've said with Jeremy. People can say that Jeremy's not a good defender. That's fine. I don't necessarily totally agree with that. But Jeremy tries on defense. James doesn't always try. He doesn't. I don't think anybody could seriously argue that, particularly when you see him doing this tonight. It's like, yeah, he's capable of doing this. He really is. But he just doesn't do it all the time. And this goes back to what Dwight Howard said, take guys out of the game when they're not putting the effort in or they're too tired to play good defense. Well, tonight, James Harden, somebody got to him, I guess, or he got it in his head that he was going to play defense, and he played it. And that's good. It's really, really, really good to see. I also made the note that the pace that Houston plays at, because they play at a fast pace, that ends up sometimes helping the team's defense. And what I mean by that is when you play at a quick pace, it makes the other team play at a quick pace. And some teams are not used to that. They'll get a little more tired. They get it's almost like you get nervous. If you're around somebody that's nervous and stressed, you start getting nervous and stressed. So if you play a team that plays like that, that can affect you. It makes you go quicker than what you want to do. And so sometimes that pace ends up being like Houston's best defense. And it's very similar to the Los Angeles Lakers. They play at a fast pace with Mike D'Antoni, or they tried to. And you'll see the same thing happen. Because the Lakers are running in transition all the time, they're shooting a bunch of threes, you start playing like that, even if you're not capable of playing that way. Or they're used to playing that way and you're not. And so I think that's probably why part of Orlando missed shots tonight, because they were playing a style that they're not used to playing, and they're not good at playing it. And the thing that's frustrating to me, and I know you guys feel the same way, is it because, and I mentioned this before the season began, because the team is better now than they were last year, because of Dwight, because of the emergence of Terrence Jones, it's going to make Patrick look better. It's going to make his defensive numbers and everything, his offensive numbers, look better. And Jeremy doesn't get that because he's not the starter. So he doesn't get the full impact of that. However, because Patrick's ratings will be good, then people will use those ratings to say that moving Jeremy to the bench was the right thing. And it's just silly. It's like cart before the horse. It's the opposite of that. One where you can't. It's not that simple to say. It's just like Jonathan Feigen saying, well, in the preseason, well, Houston beat San Antonio and Memphis pretty well. That's it. We can't change the starting lineup. Well, but Jonathan, we don't know what would have happened if Jeremy would have gotten his regular start in the Memphis game. We might have beaten them the same amount or even worse. So we don't know what the ratings would be for Jeremy if he was the starter now, because the team's better. And so it's just not look, I mean, the team made a decision, but it's not fair to Jeremy. And it's unfortunate for that. It's unfortunate. Okay, middle of the fourth, Jameer Nelson really started heating up. He wasn't doing anything, and then he started going crazy in the fourth quarter. He got a three-pointer, and he was fouled by Patrick on the play. And it looked like Patrick ran under him when Jameer went up to shoot. That's what it looked like to me. There's a new rule in the NBA this year, and the rule is designed to give jump shooters space to come down and land. And one reason why I believe this rule came into effect was because during a play last year, Kobe Bryant went up to shoot a shot, and somebody ran under him when he was shooting, and Kobe came down and he turned his ankle. It's like they don't want doing that. They don't want guys doing that, and you shouldn't do it. It's not a good play, and guys can get hurt. And I think the Orlando team wasn't happy with whatever Patrick did on that play. They were not happy. And look, we know what Patrick's reputation is. Russell Westbrook and other guys. Again, we've talked about this. If you have a reputation like that, guys are going to look out for you. They're going to be nervous and be wary of you. So Jameer Nelson and other people on the Magic were talking to Patrick after that play. Like, hey, dude, what are you doing? Were you trying to hurt him? What are you doing on that? So, and then soon after that, like right after that play, Houston went down and they missed a shot. And then Patrick tried to get a steal and he fouled somebody, and I think he kind of grabbed, I don't know, he might have hit the arm of Jameer Nelson too. And we've talked about this before. Everybody says Patrick's so competitive, and that's good. You can't be hyper. Patrick can get a little hyper sometimes, a little too amped up. And during the Oklahoma City series last year, after Patrick had to play with Russell Westbrook got hurt. Well, Reggie Jackson tried to do the same play to Patrick when Patrick called a timeout. And Patrick didn't like it. And Patrick shoved Reggie Jackson, I believe, and got a technical. You can't do that. So we want Patrick to be competitive. But you got to calm down. Don't run under dudes, please, if that's what happened. And I'd have to see the play again to see if that's what happened. Again, if you get a reputation, guys think you're trying to hurt people, that's not good. You don't want that reputation. And I'm not saying that's necessarily the thing with Patrick, but you don't want to be known as that. You don't want to do that, because the guys will come looking for you, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to be in that position, in my opinion. And don't always have a chip on your shoulder, because then you can get caught up in emotions and make plays and get technicals that you don't want to do. Don't do that. Don't need to do this. I think Patrick has a little bit of that in him, or more than a little bit. And I understand it. Look, he's new to the league. He's just starting. He doesn't want to go back to Russia and play, which is where he was playing before. So he's trying to earn his keep, and guys are trying to mess with him sometimes. But keep it under control. That's what would be my advice anyway. And look, it's not a perfect thing. I don't. It's something he'll learn. He'll learn it more and more as he goes along. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it for the quarter by quarter. I'm going to get to some comments and just some other things here in just a second, but let me first do this. The next game coming up is in the United States. It's several days away. It's not for like 4 days from now. So there's a break for the team, and hopefully Jeremy can kind of rest up and heal up, which is good. The game will take place on Thursday, December 12th. It will be against the Portland Trailblazers, who are playing great right now, in Portland, Oregon. And the game will take place at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S., and it will be shown on TNT television here in the United States. Now, I believe Portland's only lost one time at home this year, and that was when Houston beat them, and that's when Jeremy played great. He started that game, and he really slowed down Damian Lillard. And I think Jeremy did well himself in the game. So that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough game. And my guess is Jeremy will still be out for that game. He probably will be. So that's going to be an interesting test. And we'll see where things are at, because Portland is playing great. They are really good. Actually, they just did lose another home game. They just lost to Dallas last night. I forgot that game was in Portland. That was an excellent game. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, somebody mentioned, I'm sorry, I do not remember who it was right now. I have it on the tip of my memory, but I can't quite remember it right now. Somebody told me not to say LeBron, Bieber, Parsons. And you know what? You're right. Because they said it sounded salty. Meaning it sounds like I have a grudge against Chandler. And I don't have a grudge against Chandler, but it does sound like that. So I think that's true. I just let it go. So I won't call him Bieber, and I won't call him LeBron anymore. The reason why I did it was because the Bieber thing is about Chandler and the whole fame chasing thing. And the LeBron thing is Chandler not letting Jeremy handle the ball. But it's a good suggestion. We have fun with these videos. But I also want them to be professional. So this is the same way that I am on Twitter. There are certain people who are more... Look, if I get mad on Twitter, I'm going to say stuff, as people that follow us know. On the other hand, you want to be professional. If you're too emotional, then you don't seem professional. And we don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. Because if you're not professional, if you don't have some objectivity or kind of lack of over emotion, then nobody will take you seriously. So you don't want to be too emotional. It's just so whatever. So that relates to the LeBron, Bieber, Parsons things. Okay, yeah, let's just back off of that. That's fair. That's fine. And I like Chandler. It's just more of observations about him, but we can take it out, and I think that's fine. Now, one of the things we've talked about Jeremy maybe getting traded to the Boston Celtics. I got to tell you, their point guard, Jordan Crawford's playing well, really well. Like his PER is actually right around Jeremy's. So if Jeremy gets traded there, I don't know if it's an absolute guarantee that Jeremy's going to start. So I want to tell you guys that just in case if the trade does get done and all of a sudden we hear, well, Jeremy's not starting. So we have to see. Jordan's playing well, and we got to give him credit for that. Sentech, you said that I'm very rational, and it's helping you, and you're learning from me. Good, I appreciate that. I do try to be rational, and believe me, I'm not always rational, and I haven't always been rational when it comes to making videos or making comments. But it is something that you learn if you do it a lot. And as I've told people before, both John and myself were credentialed members of the sports media in the past. So you you gotta, like I said earlier, you have to try to be a little more detached and be rational. Now, we're not that right now, and I'm not trying to be that right now, but the rationality as it comes to these videos in general is because, as I said, I don't want to be on an emotional roller coaster after every single game. Now, if the team wins and Jeremy does well, then there's going to be a woo and all that. But it's when things aren't great. I don't want to get on the roller coaster and go down. And somebody said the other day, and I read this at JLin.net, after the Golden State game, that apparently on one of the sites, somebody was saying, "Oh, this is the best game of the year," and that was made a sticky thread. No, it wasn't. Of course it wasn't. The Spurs game was the best game of the year because it was in San Antonio, and the Spurs played relatively well in that game, and we still won. Golden State was in Houston, and Golden State played horribly in that game. And that had a lot more to do with them than it had to do with us. That's just reality. So that's, to me, I understand why you do that. You do that because the team was on a 2-game losing streak. And you want to pump the fans up, but that's nonsense. And let's be honest here. You also could do that, and I told you guys this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen. If you want to take a shot at Jeremy, then you do that. I'm not saying it was done for that reason, but if you wanted to do it for that reason, then that's what you would do, which is exactly what I said. I said, you're going to hear that everything's fine now because Chandler's back. And and you're going to hear it's the best win ever. Everything's great. And it's kind of a little dig at Jeremy and his fans. We don't need you. And even without you, we had the best win of the season. That's why I don't get on the emotional roller coaster, because I'm not going to get baited and trolled by stuff like that. That's why I tell you, don't read stuff. Don't put your hands on the boiling pot. Just don't do it. That doesn't mean you never do it. Again, I will talk about Fran Blindberry or Bill Ingram and their articles if I come across them. But I'm not going looking for them. I don't want to read that. The same way that I'm not listening to the Houston home broadcast. And I'm not listening to a lot of Houston broadcast, period, now, because I just don't need it. And neither do you. We'll monitor it. There's certainly a purpose in being a watchdog and knowing what is being said and monitoring it. That's important. But I think by now you know who's going to say what. You know what's going to be said, positive or negative. I know what Chris Baldwin's going to write for Culture Map Houston, and I'm glad he's writing it. I know he's going to write, just like most of you know what I'm going to say. But I also know what Fran Blindberry is going to write and what Bill Ingram's going to write, etc. So I don't need to indulge it because I'm just going to get mad. I can't remember. It's one of the, I think it's in 1984, a novel by George Orwell. I think there's a concept in there. It's either that or Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I believe it's 1984. There's a concept in there known as 5 minutes of hate, I believe it is. And it's something where Big Brother or whatever, the government puts a thing on and people get mad for 5 minutes. Yeah, they put something on the screens, the television screens or something, and it's like people vent for 5 minutes. And my understanding or my remembrance of it is it's to manipulate people. Okay, this is when you get mad, and we're going to tell you what to get mad at. Get mad. That's what this stuff is. If you go and read these articles, you're just going to get mad. And they're basically there to just prod you. Just don't give into it. Just don't give into the 5 minutes of hate. Just ignore it. And again, the more you ignore these things, the less power that they have. The less reinforcement that the people writing them get. So, forget about it. Forget about it. As I've said, Jeremy's playing great this year. Really, really well. Not perfect, but he's playing well. And that's it. That's it. That's what it is. I don't think Omer Asik is going to play before he's traded. And as I've told you guys before in videos, the reason why you do that is you don't want him to get hurt before you trade him. Because then if he gets hurt, well, nobody wants him. The same way that I mentioned about Rajon Rondo in the last video. If Rondo's hurt, you're not going to trade for him because he's still hurt and he can't play right now. And maybe you don't know when he's going to be healthy again. So I would expect that Omer Asik's thigh is going to stay hurt, quote unquote, until he's traded. And yes, it still looks like he's going to get traded. Okay, that's about it. Yeah, that's it. I'm thinking something really quickly if I wanted to talk about something else, but it just slipped my mind. Okay, it is currently 12:51 a.m. early on Monday, December 9th, 2013, here on the East Coast of the United States, which means it is Monday, December 9th at 1:52 p.m. in Taipei, Taiwan. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. We will put information in the video description below the video player about the game, so you can go check out highlights, check out a story about the game, and check out the box score of the game. You can also get information about how you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group, and how you can come and follow us on the CNM JLin Vids Twitter account. Once again, I am Paul Filial, PFE, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 JLin YouTube fan channel. Look, it was a good win tonight. The team needed the win. This is a team they absolutely need to beat, and they beat them. I definitely think Jeremy would have helped out in this game, but I'm glad that he can just keep resting, just keep getting your treatment, keep doing your thing. And he's getting healthier and healthier. And said, hopefully this will be the only little run-in with health issues this season. So just rest up, and he'll be back soon enough. So I hope everybody's having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care, and we will talk to you again soon.